assemble and, use a coffee can, one of your pets, if you have a pet nearby. A firm cushion would work, a thick book, and if not, don't worry about it, it's fine. Okay, find a comfortable seat. I find this comfortable, you may not. Roll your shoulders back and down, find that inner lift of your heart, and we'll find our hands together in Anjali, or prayer at our heart center. Thumbs lightly resting on the sternum. Nod your chin just a little bit, soften your gaze or close your eyes. Start to settle in with your breath. Breathing all the way down, as if you could, into the bowl of your pelvis. Finding that inner lift, that little bit of rise into your heart, up through the crown of your head. And grounding down, settling, softening, relaxing the jaw, the throat, the shoulders. As you exhale. Finding the length and the lift of the heart, the length of the spine, the back. The settling action of the exhale, softening the letting go. Tuning into your own steady rhythm. The rise and fall of your own breath. Using it as the anchor and the tool to help you to stay present. Present in your space, wherever you may be, tucked in the living room, the kitchen, your bedroom, hiding somewhere from your kids. And those of us that are here together, knowing that we are practicing in real time, real world time. So even though we can't physically be together here in the studio, we're together in spirit, energetically, and even if you're tuning in, watching maybe a replay, or possibly if we post this up to YouTube later. It is a very individual and independent practice, but we're in it together. We're here in community to uplift ourselves and one another. Taking one more full breath. Sighing out through an open mouth. Release your hands down to your legs. Lift your chin and blink your eyes open. We'll come into a tabletop position. Stacking your wrists under your shoulders and your knees under your hips. You can have your toes curled under or be on the tops of your feet, whatever feels best for your knees and your ankles this morning. But create some space between your fingers so that you can see the color of your floor or your mat between all of your digits, and find some tension across your fingers. So grab, pull, grip the floor a little bit. Spin your elbow creases forward, your biceps forward, and then pretend that you're grabbing the mat and pulling it apart. Inhale, once again, find that length from the crown of your head back out through your tailbone. And as you exhale, a tiny bit of tone comes into the belly to help us support our back. We'll start to pump the brakes. Those of you that practice with me, very familiar, especially early in the morning, as it is here for me now, and you guys that are with me live. It's always a good idea to warm up your wrists. So we just shift front to back. When you come forward, taking the shoulders into planche, And when you go back, taking the shoulder a little bit more open. See if you can start to link and sync up movement with your breath. I like to inhale forward and exhale back. Meeting back in table, back at neutral. Spinning your hands in the direction of your pinky fingers, so turning out. I like to take my hands fairly wide. As we shift from side to side, dropping the shoulder down, you might look in the direction that you're moving. Finding a little bit of sensation across the bicep, the shoulder, and a new sensation across your wrists, your forearms. If you'd like to add in, you can bend the elbow, taking it more like a one-arm push-up. As you come back through center, walking your wrists back under your shoulders and continuing to spin your hands back just as much as you can comfortably. If you need to take weight out of your arms, out of your wrists, just sit back into your legs more. You have a lot more control how much pressure comes down. If you need to add in, that means that your palms are down and there's no pain. You might shift your hips back, but wherever you are, broaden your collarbones. Find that inner lift of the heart. So you send your chest forward. It's really easy to collapse here. Slowly peel the hands up off the floor. Give them a little shake, side to side, up and down. And interlace your hands together. Squeeze the elbows in just as much as you can. Lift your elbows up and then start to draw figure eights with your hands, your wrists. Working any Rice Krispies out of there. Slow down the movement and notice which direction your hands are going. Are they moving away from your face or towards your face through the middle stroke of the eight? Can you switch the direction? And then plant the hands down, just like we've practiced. Wrists under the shoulders, knees under the hips. Toes curled under on the tops of your feet. Wherever you can actively push your shins down and it feels good on your knees. Big inhale. Exhale, a little tone into the belly. Grab the floor, pull it apart between your two hands. Inhale, right leg kicks back, heads up. I'm not mirroring you. And as long as you do both sides, it's all good. So even though we're gonna reach off of our toes, can you plug your thigh bone? Can you engage your glutes a little bit to help keep the hips squared up? So we're not trying to lift our leg as high as we can. It doesn't really need to be any higher than the hip here. If you'd like to add in, it's okay on your right wrist. You might lift your left arm. I like my thumb to face up. Even though we're reaching, we have this oppositional force reaching off the fingertips, the crown of the head, the toes. We're hugging into the midline. Left wrist sneaks back under the shoulder, fits up. Right knee sneaks back under, take a breath. Inhale, left leg kicks back. Exhale, hug into the midline. Continue to push the floor away. Check in with your left wrist. If it's all right, you might add your right arm reach. Making sure that you're doing doing something with your foot, point, floint, flex, they're all good options, but active feet. Wrist back under the shoulder if it's out, knee back under the hip, big inhale. Exhale, turn your toes under, shift your hips back, and we'll meet up in downward facing dog. First one of the day for me. Pedal out your feet. So bending one knee deeply, pressing the opposite heel down, whether it touches or not. Take a breath and switch. Finding a little stillness in your dog, lift your hips high, press them towards the back wall behind you. Root your heels down, whether they touch or not, and push the floor away. So pushing the floor so much that you start to get some stretch in the skin of your side ribs. Taking a little peek up through your eyebrows, just enough so you can start to see your thumbs. Lift your heels, inhale. Exhale, tone your belly quite a lot, and start to tippy-toe your feet towards your hands. Let your shoulders travel, but don't let your hands come up off the floor. Push. When your feet can't come any closer, rock your way back into your heels. Inhale, push off your shins. Lift your shoulders up in line with your hips. Halfway lift, big breath. Exhale to tilt your pelvis and fold shoulders, neck, head. Good night, heavy. Let's do it a few more times. Inhale, halfway lift. Push off your legs or your block, your coffee can, whatever you're using. Exhale to fold. You can keep your knees as bent as you need to, your feet as wide apart as you like. One more time. Inhale, lengthen your spine, open your chest. Exhale to fold. Inhale through halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the hips. Inhale, find that leg, tailbone crown. Exhale, tone your belly, squeeze your shoulders up off the floor. Squeeze your back. Inhale, push down to your feet and come on up from your hips. Exhale, hands to heart center. Take a breath. Inhale, turn your arms open. So not just from your hands, not just from your elbows, but your whole arm. Spin your inside armpit out. Next, inhale, reach up overhead. Continue to spin your arms open. So pinky fingers in, palms start to face back. Good. Notice there's only so much play in your shoulders before you start to move into your back. So we're not there just yet. Knit your bottom ribs, draw them down. Inhale, stretch a little higher. Exhale, we swan dive. We tilt our pelvis and fold. Inhale through halfway lift. Exhale to empty all breath out. Let go. Bend your knees as much as you need to get your hands flat down onto the floor like we've practiced. Get your shoulders over your hands, and then step yourself back to plank. Grab the floor, pull it apart. Tone your low belly, and reach back through your heels. Even if you drop your knees down, reach back through your heels. Think about lifting the front hip bones towards the front of the mat. As you grab the floor, pulling it apart still, and imagine drawing the heel of your hand back toward your toes. You'll move forward a little bit, but it'll force you to engage into your deep abdominals a little bit more. You might start to shake. Breathe. Good. First time through, let's release the knees down. Inhale, go a little forward. Exhale, lower all the way belly down. I'm gonna move back just to make sure I stay in the frame here. Inhale, forehead, nose, chin, heart goes forward as we start to climb our elbows under our shoulders. We find Sphinx pose. Inhale, grab the floor, pull it back. Heart moves forward and then maybe a little bit up. Exhale, pretend, imagine you could tuck the tips of your shoulder blades into your back pockets. Broaden your collarbones, lift your heart. Exhale, start to really light up your back. Slowly, elbows come back. We start to unravel, chin, nose, forehead down. Hands slide back so the wrists are under the elbows. Just take a little peek and double check. Grab the mat, squeeze your back, lift your shoulders up away from the floor, hug your elbows in. Turn your toes, tone your belly, knees might stay down. Inhale, push up. Exhale, press back, downward facing dog or child's pose. They are interchangeable. One more breath. Look towards your two hands. Inhale, lift your heels. Exhale, tone your belly. Hips go high as we start to tippy, tippy, tippy toe. Push. Maybe you get a little closer to your hands, maybe not. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Yogi's choice, you can roll up or come up, reverse swan. Inhale, we rise. Exhale, we meet back, hands at heart center, stay for a breath. Let's add in. Inhale, turn your arms open, reach up, look up, palms might touch. Exhale, we swan dive back over the thighs, empty, all breath out. Inhale, halfway. Exhale to fold. Soften your knees. Right foot's going to take a big step back. Spin or step your right heel down onto the mat. So both feet are flat down. Start to sit deeply into your front left hip. And notice your bum wants to swing back behind you. Tuck your left hip under your body, as if you could sit your left butt cheek onto your back right heel. Front knee, left knee's pressing forward but out towards the pinky toe side of your foot. It's a bit of hamstring purgatory here. Hands come inside. If the floor is far away, we can lift it up. We can use anything that we have. But wherever your hands are, give a little push. A little bit of a push to find more stretch on the left side ribs, just like we had in down dog. Start to climb our hands back through center, fingers face the front edge of the mat. Right heel lifts to the ceiling, inhale. Exhale, we find downward facing dog. Next in-breath, right leg lifts up, down dog split. Exhale, use your glutes, square up your hips. Inhale, reach your foot back. Exhale, start to shift forward, step your right foot wide. So we're coming outside of our hands. Towards the long edge of the mat, spin your left heel down. Feet are flat, second side. Sit deep in your front right hip. Tuck your bum a little bit under, so the thigh bone starts to line up with the long edge of the mat. Hands walk to the open side, and we push the floor away. Let your head hang heavy, let it relax. Walk back to center. Fingers forward, plant them well. Left heel lifts up towards the ceiling. We find down dog. Inhale, shift forward to plank. Drop your knees if you need to. Exhale, lower all the way down. Kick your toes up. Take your hands wide, so they're probably going to come off your mat if you're on one. About shoulder distance or so, elbows wide. We're up on our fingertips, so we have our Spider-Man or cupcake hands. Root your pelvis down, lengthen your low back. Inhale, forehead, nose, chin, look forward. And then we might start to coil to lift our chest up off the mat. Not so much pressure into the hands just yet. Squeeze your shoulder blades together and draw them down your back. So this bit of funky cobra. Press your toenails down. Start to unravel. Chin, nose, forehead. Hands slide back, wrists under your elbows. Squeeze your back, turn your toes. Inhale, push up. Exhale to press back, down dog, or child's pose. Here we go. Inhale, left leg goes up. Exhale, square up. So engage your glutes. We don't need to kick our legs so high. Inhale, reach back, back, back. Exhale, left foot is going to step wide. Good. Big inhale. Exhale, just for now, let's release the right knee down. We'll soften the elbows, melt the heart. We might stay right here. We might climb the right elbow down to our prop or the mat. And if that goes well, maybe the left. Yogi choice, back knee can stay down, heavy, relax. You can turn your right toes, kick your heel back, and lift your thigh up. Final breath. Wrist climb back under the shoulders, plant your hands well. Step back, down dog or child's. Noticing any differences from side to side. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, engage your glutes, square up your hips. Inhale, kick back. Reach back. Exhale, step your right foot wide. Just help your knee get over your ankle if you need to. Drop your left knee down for now. Inhale. Exhale, soften your elbows, melt your heart. Stop one. If we'd like to add in, maybe the left elbow drops down to a prop or the mat. If that goes well, maybe the right. Maybe they're not the same height, that's okay. Yogi choice, back leg heavy, relaxed, or kick the heel back and lift the thigh. Finding the pose that's going to just feel really good for your body right now. Climbing your wrists under your shoulders. Stepping back through plank. Drop your knees if you need to. Inhale to go forward. Exhale to lower all the way down. Kick your toes up. Press your toenails down. Root your hips down and lengthen your low back. So that action of moving your hip points towards the front edge of your mat again. Reach your hands back. And squeeze your shoulders up off the floor. Maybe lift your arms up and back. Maybe start to coil. Forehead, nose, chin moves forward. And then maybe up. Keeping some space on the back of your neck. One more breath. Unravel. Wrists under the elbows. Turn the toes under. Squeeze the back, tone the belly, inhale, push up. Exhale to press back, down dog. Or child's. Moving on. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, square up your hips. Inhale, Inhale, reach back. Exhale, step your foot wide yet again. Help your knee over. Right knee to the mat for now. Pat it, cushion it if you need to. Shift your right hand outside, like 6 inches or so, but actively push the floor away. So we're not sitting in our shoulder joints. Push, push, push. Good. Exhale, spin your belly, your chest towards your front thigh. Personally, I like to take my toes off my mat. So I spin my thigh open a little bit. You might press it away. If you're good, stay. If you'd like to add in, big hamstring curl on your back leg. Think heel to butt. You might reach around and catch the pinky toe side of your foot. Thumb is going to face up. But if you have a hold of your foot, kick your hand away. Kick your hand away to help turn your chest more to the ceiling. Final breath. Next exhale, look down at the mat. Unravel your twist. Wrist back under your shoulders, left toes face forward, right knee picks up. We step back, down dog or child's. 2 extra breaths in between. Check back in. Inhale, right leg lifts up. Exhale, square up your hips. Inhale, reach back. Exhale, step wide. Left knee comes down to the mat. Pat it if you need to. Left hand walks out 6 inches or so. Personal preference, I like to spin my toes off the mat. So check in with your hips, your low back, inhale. Exhale, push the floor away. Maybe press your front thigh away. Find your twist. Might jump off the bus here. If you'd like to add in big hamstring curl, heel towards your bum. Reach your arm back, thumb faces up, palm faces in. And then kick your hand away to help turn your chest more. Exhale, turn to look at the mat. Unravel your twist. Plant your hands well, right toes forward. Inhale. Exhale, tone your belly, pick up your back knee. We step back through plank. Inhale to go forward. Exhale to lower all the way down. Inhale, coming back up through Sphinx pose. We've been here before. Elbows under shoulders. Exhale, grab the mat, pull it back. Pretensies. Broaden your collarbones and lift your chest. Before we move farther, check in with your low back. Could you create more space? Spin your left forearm in any amount, parallel towards the front edge of the mat, and then push the floor away to help lift your chest up a little higher. Freeze up the right hand, big hamstring curl on the right side, heel towards the bum. We might reach back and catch the foot. So we can be on the outside, the thumb will face down, the palm would face up, if we're on the pinky toe side of our foot. We could flip the grip, palm faces out, thumb faces up, we're hitching a ride. You could kick your hand away like we did before to help lift the chest. Or you might draw the heel in a little closer. If we close the knee, it releases a lot of tension on the shoulder. At that point, if it's in your practice, you might flip your grip. Your fingers face the same direction as your toes, and the elbow lifts up. Final breath. Gently, no slingshot. Release the foot. Come back through Sphinx. And then we'll prep to do the second side. Right forearm turns in any amount that feels good on the shoulder. Push the floor away to lift the chest and to not sit in our shoulder joint. We might jump off the bus here. You might play with that hamstring curl action. Heel towards the bum. Left hand can reach back. Thumb can face down, palm can face in on the pinky toe side. We can flip. Thumb faces up, palm faces out. We can kick our hand away, lift the chest more. Or you could close your knee and flip your shoulder. One more breath. So a one-legged frog here. Gently release your foot so we don't slingshot. We come back through Sphinx for a breath. To help fire up our back, light up our low belly, so we have support as we unravel. This time through, just taking your hands wide wherever they're comfortable, left ear to the floor. And then slide your right knee up. Final breath. Right foot slides back in the frame of the hips. It's not out too wide. We take our right ear to the mat, right face cheek, and slide the left knee up. So a different little frog here. We have our half mandiki. Forehead back towards the mat, left foot back inside the frame of the hip. Slide your hands back, wrists under the elbows. Squeeze your back, tone your belly, push up. Exhale to press back, down dog or child's pose. Inhale, left leg goes up. Exhale, square up. Inhale, kick back. Exhale, look forward, step your left foot through. And help your knee over your ankles, spin your right heel down. So both the feet are flat on the mat. Walk your hands through center without turning your front toes. So keep them facing due north, straight to the front edge of your mat. Bend both your knees now and sink your hips. We might shift a little from side to side. Inhale through center. Exhale, push your feet down and away like you're trying to rip your sticky mat apart as you roll up. Inhale, open your arms. Exhale, look over your left fingers and bend your front knee, left knee. So we have Vira 2 or Warrior 2. Look down, just double check. You can see the big toe inside your front knee. And your back leg is really active. It's not collapsing. Inhale to reach. Exhale, left elbow's gonna come just inside. Create tension to lay your chest back. Right hand can be on the hip or up alongside your ear as you stretch overhead. If your hand is getting low or you're sinking down towards the mat, you can always tuck a prop. You need something to help push out of. Go to one more breath. Inhale to rise, strong legs, strong core. Square up your feet to the short ends of the mat, hands on the hips, roll your shoulders back and down. Inhale, lift your heart. Exhale, squeeze your back. One more breath here. Lift your right toes. And then strongly pivot, turn. Best friends episode ever, right? Right toes now go to the back edge of your mat. Watch that you didn't just dump your pelvis or tip too much. So hip points are pretty equal up off the mat for now. You need to re-angle your back toes any amount, feel free. Inhale. Exhale, bend your right knee, sink. Inhale, reach your arms if you like, Vira 2. Now we tilt our pelvis, inhale to reach. Exhale, right elbow just inside to help lay the chest back, spin the top ribs open. Left hand hip, or left hand alongside the ear as you reach overhead. And if you want your prop, something to push out of, feel free. Final breath. Inhale, strong legs, strong core, lift yourself all the way up. Square up your feet. Exhale, squeeze your back, tone your belly. Inhale, lift up, up, up. Exhale to tilt your pelvis and fold. Good, hands can stay where they are. They can dangle towards the mat if you have clearance. They can rest. Good. Notice if all of the weight is sitting back in your heels, if your bum is standing way back behind you. Can you rock a little way forward into the balls of your feet so you feel your toes start to grip? Not to make your heels light, but just to distribute the weight a little more equally. Inhale, half a lift. Push off of whatever you can reach. Exhale to soften your knees. Push your feet down and away as you roll on up. Roll your shoulders back and down, lift your heart. Exhale, settle. Lift your left toes up off the mat and pivot. Left toes to the front edge of your mat. Neutralize your pelvis. Inhale, open your arms, look over the left fingers. Exhale, Vira 2, we've been here before. Inhale to reach. Exhale to side angle. Whatever your version looks like this morning. Right hand to its own hip. Right foot steps in 6 inches to a foot. I'm going to step back a little so I'm in the frame. Left finger slide out 6 inches to a foot. If it's a little windy, wherever you are right now, you might want to take your left hand out to the left. So not just in line with the toes, but a little bit wider to broaden your base of support. Tighten your right leg. Lean into your left foot, start to stand into your left leg. And find half moon. Right hand tip. Broaden your collarbones. Squeeze your back a little. For my acro yogis, you might look down your body. Make sure you can see your toes, so your leg's not way back behind you. Right hand hip or right hand sky. And if you're feeling really stable this morning, you might do that big hamstring curl. Reach around and find your foot. And don't think too much about lifting your knee high. Can you drop the knee a little bit and kick your foot into your hand? Take your knee back behind your hip, not just up. If it's windy, smile. Breathe. If you have a hold of your foot, release. Reach your right bicep alongside your ear. So right fingers overhead, soften your left knee. Keep your right leg really tight, really active. Left hand outside of its own foot. Can you find this awkward balance? Left fingers to the mat for support. Gracefully, gently release your right foot down. Good. Inhale, we come on up. Square up your feet. Take a breath. Good. Let's do the second side. Pick up your right toes. Spin them up. Inhale, arms go up. Exhale, we find warrior 2. Inhale to reach. Exhale, your version of side angle. We stay for a breath. Left hand hip. Look down at the mat. Step your left foot in. Yeah, so we get more compact. Right hand sneaks out. Maybe it goes a little bit wide for more support. All good. Tighten up your left leg. It helps a lot. So when you stand into your right foot, your left leg flies. Half moon. Make sure you're stable. Breathe. Do something with your left foot. No dead feet. Squeeze your outer hip. If it's very stable, you might play a little bit more big hamstring curl.
Reach around, look. You might need to lift the knee to get a hold, it's okay. Just drop it back down a little bit and then kick into your hand. If you have a hold of your left foot, let it go. Left bicep up alongside the ear. Reach, strongly reach. From your fingertips, the crown of your head, your left toes. Bend your right knee, move your hand back alongside the foot. We might stay here. You might let your fingers get light and find this awkward balance. Just tickle the mat. Good. Hand down for support. We step back like we're going back through side angle, and then come on up. Square up your feet, big breath. Exhale to tilt your pelvis and fold. Inhale, push off of whatever you can reach. Lengthen your back like half lip. Exhale to empty out. One more breath here at the bottom. Inhale to push off of the mat wherever you can reach. Exhale, soften your knees, drop your hips a little. Walk your hands back to the front edge of your mat. Plant them well. Right heel lifts up towards the ceiling, or maybe the left, whatever the front edge is for you. And step back. Big breath. Exhale to go forward and down. Kick your legs out. Reach your left arm over your head. And then turn to your left side. So you get a little bicep pillow. Look down your body. Make sure your hips aren't too cantilevered. That means you can't see your whole leg. But your legs aren't so far back behind you that you couldn't see your toes. Right hand or your top arm, push down to help lift your chest and climb your bottom arm a little longer. So you're gonna find some stretch on the bottom side waist. If it's cool with your neck, you can prop your head into your hand. If not, just keep your bicep pillow. So stop one. It might be a little bit tippy. Yeah, that's good. It's your core doing its job. If you'd like to add in, next stop is to take your top leg like tree pose. It's okay if you're on the knee here, we're not standing, so we're not going to be pushing the knee out in that direction that we don't really want it to go. But take your top knee, your outer knee behind you, imagine, pretendsies. Engage your outer hip. Lift up on your low belly. It feels a little bit like you're taking your tailbone in. It's that pelvic loop, if you're familiar. We might stay here. Next stage on the bus is to take your top knee towards your face. Reach inside. You want to create that tension. Push your elbow into your inner thigh like we did in that side angle. Thumb up, palm faces forward in the direction of your belly as you cross over the ankle and catch the pinky toe side of your foot. Take your outer knee back, lift up on your low belly. We might stay here. Next stage, keep your knee deeply bent. The bottom of the foot comes more parallel to the ceiling. So if I were to flip you up onto your feet, you would be back in that side angle shape. And if you roll back behind you, good news. You know, you're not too far off the mat. Just come back on up. Last stop on this bus. We don't need to worry about taking our head or our foot over our head. It's a different pose. But you might start to straighten your leg a little bit. And then we'll flex the top ankle. Imagine that you're moving through water or jello and squeeze your legs back together. Roll onto your belly. Take a breath. And then take your right arm over your head. Turn to your right side so you have that bicep pillow. Look down your body. Make sure you can just see your toes. Left hand lifts your chest. Climb your right arm a little longer. And then support your head in your hand if it's cool with your neck. And if not, just keep your head down. Stop one, it's right here. If you have tight quads, depending on what you you've been doing. I'm getting a bit of foam roller action on that bottom thigh. You know, you're welcome. Next stage, top leg like tree. Outer knee goes back, we lift up on our low belly, so we draw that little bit of pelvic loop, tailbone goes in. Find stability, find your breath. Vishnu's couch. Top knee, maybe comes up towards the face. We reach inside, so tension. Push the arm into the thigh. We might reach over top of the foot, thumb faces up, and we catch the pinky toe side. Next stage, the bottom of the foot comes a little more parallel to the ceiling. I keep that tension, pressing my arm into my leg, lifting up on my low belly. That will help you to stabilize. It's essentially side angle. And then if you still want to add in, you can straighten your leg up any amount. Kick into your hand as much as you're pulling on your foot. Flex your top ankle. Make your leg tight. Squeeze your legs back together. And roll onto your belly. Slide your hands near your shoulders anywhere at all. Press yourself on up. Take your big toes towards one another. Your knees can be close together or wide apart as you sink your hips back towards your heels and your forehead down towards the mat. Hands can be overhead or back alongside the feet, whatever feels comfortable for you. Settling back in with your breath. Inhale, walk your hands closer to your knees as you roll yourself on them. However you need to get over onto your seat, I like to cross my ankles and just go back. We'll find the legs extended as straight and about hip distance apart or so. Let's cross the right ankle over top of the left thigh. Try to get above your knee. And I like to send my ankle bone a little past my quad so I'm not like stabbing into the soft tissue. So we have this bit of figure 4 shape. It's a great place to be. We might add a little tip of the pelvis, a little bit of fold. We might stay right here. And just being cautious of our right knee, our top knee, as there's nothing underneath. If you have a blankie or cushion or something, you might want to tuck under there for a bit of support. Next stage on this bus is to take your right shin directly in front of your left shin. So the bottoms of your feet and the top of your thighs start to line up a little bit. And we still have this bit of triangle. So the shins are parallel to the long edge or the short edge of your mat if you have one. The feet are a bit active. I'm pressing the knife edges down, the pinky toe sides down, and imagine pushing my feet away from one another. We could add fold, the tilt of the pelvis. You can jump off the bus. If you'd still like to add in, right shin, top shin can go directly on top. Agni Sambasan, our fire log. So the bottoms of the feet and the knees still line up. If your heels start to draw in too close, it just takes that stretch out of the hip. It's not bad or wrong. So meet your body where it is. Come back to your breath. If there's a space between your knee and your ankle, you could tuck like your jacket, sweater. Wood blocks don't feel the best. Cushion. stack the shoulders over the hips. If you have a fold, lean back into your hands a little. Unravel, give a bit of a windshield wipe. Just bring some movement. We'll straighten out the legs, and we'll do that on the second side. Left ankle over the top thigh, above the knee, stop one, right here. Next stage on this bus is to take your left shin directly in front. So here's where the shin bones start to line up more parallel, and the bottoms of the feet line up with the top of the thigh. Still a little triangle shape inside. Last stop. We stack the logs, our shins. We still line up with our feet. If there's a bit of space, this side is a little tighter for me today. We could always tuck jacket, sweater, towel, cushion, block, whatever you need. To still add in, we can add that bit of tilt at the pelvis, a little bit of hinging or folding action. Inhale to rise, hands move back, unravel your legs, take your feet wide, wider than the hips. I'm just giving that bit of windshield wipe. Your knee doesn't need to come down to the mat. It can be very subtle. It might be just a tiny bit of movement. It might be dramatic. You might start to stack your shoulders more over your hips and move your hands out. Hip mobility. And if you aren't using your hands and you're like walking your bum forward, happens, totally normal. It's fine. Pick a side, they're both great. As we sweep ourselves all the way around and come down onto our back. Just tuck your knees into your chest, give your hips a little rock, shoulders away from the ears. We'll keep the left knee hugged in and take the right leg out heavy, relaxed on the floor. And you might play. Maybe the thigh is tight to the belly. Maybe we move it out to the side of the ribs and down towards the mat more. Maybe you need a little more movement, so you draw circles both directions. Just finding that sweet spot for yourself. Taking a breath to switch. Hugging the right knee, left leg heavy, relaxed. Thigh might be tight to the belly, outside of the ribs and dropping down. Or a little bit more movement, drawing circles. Both knees up into the chest. Take a breath. Sneak your hands to the underside of your thighs. Inhale. Exhale, split knees, ankles, feet open. So we have a bit more stretch on the inseam of our legs. We might stay here. You draw the bottoms of your feet more parallel to the ceiling. And if you need to add in, you could walk your hands up to the calves, the ankles, or catch your feet. So Nanda Balasana, happy baby. Some people like to rock. They find it very soothing across the low back. Just finding any little movement or adjustment you need to be comfortable as possible. Both knees back into the chest. One final breath here. Kicking one leg out at a time. Really reach off the ends of the foot as you lower down onto the mat. And then the second side. Give the hips a little rock, the shoulders a little walk. And if you need a jacket, a blanket, bolsters, cushions, whatever you need, grab it. Get as comfortable as possible. Soften your gaze or close your eyes.
final minute here together, resting back with your breath. And if you want to stay longer and you have the luxury of time to do so, the good news here at home, you can do whatever you like. You can take as much time as you need to here. But just for now, be still with your breath, relaxed. If your mind becomes busy at any point, a subtle shift of your awareness back to the physical feeling of relaxation, back to the rise and fall of your breath, and staying here as long as you need to. As I sign off and say thank you for sharing time and practice. It is always my pleasure, and I'm so grateful for everyone that's been showing up, giving me a reason to